The American hunting rifle died in 1998. Not literally, but the era of hand-fit bolt actions, real walnut stocks, and barrels built by craftsmen who actually gave a damn? Gone. Today's rifles roll off assembly lines, stamped, sprayed, and shipped in 72 hours. They work fine, but they have zero soul, and they'll be worth the same in 30 years as they are today. Nothing special. The rifles your father, grandfather, and uncle dragged into deer camp from the 1950s through the 1990s? Those are a different story. They're appreciating faster than almost anything else in the American firearms market right now. Faster than vintage cars. Faster than baseball cards. In some cases, faster than real estate. We tracked down 11 of the rifles climbing fastest, and the number one on this list sold at auction for extraordinary money. If you own one of these, do yourself a favor. Close the safe, walk away, and never look at a for sale listing again. Number 11. Savage Model 99, pre-1968. Let's start with the rifle almost nobody talks about, and the one serious collectors are quietly buying by the dozen. The Savage Model 99 was introduced in 1899, and it did something no other American lever action could pull off at the time. It ran a rotary spool magazine inside the receiver. Why does that matter? Because every other lever action on the market used a tubular magazine, which meant you were stuck with round nose or flat point bullets. The Savage 99 could chamber-pointed Spitzer bullets, the same high-velocity rounds used in bolt actions. That made it the first lever action that could genuinely compete with modern hunting cartridges, including the legendary 300 Savage and later the 308 Winchester. Production ran from 1899 to 1998, nearly a full century. But the rifles worth your attention are the pre-1968 examples. Before 1968, Savage was still hand-fitting these guns with American walnut, machining them from solid steel forgings and holding a finish standard that completely disappeared once the company modernized production in the late 60s. Here's the trajectory. In 2000, a pre-68 Savage 99 in decent shape sold for around $300. Today, a correct example with matching numbers and original walnut brings $900 to $1,800. Deluxe grade examples with factory engraving are pulling $2,500 to $4,500. The rare Model 99 RS takedown variants and pre-war examples in scarce calibers have crossed $8,000 at auction. How do you identify one? Look for the rotary magazine visible through the loading port, a round counter on the left side of the receiver, and the lever-actuated cocking indicator on top of the bolt. Serial number prefix confirms the production year. If your father bought a Savage 99 in the 50s or 60s for whitetail season, do not sell it. Number 10. Remington Model 700, 1962 to 1970. Now we're getting into bolt action territory. Specifically, the rifle that defined American hunting for 4 decades. But not all Model 700S are created equal. Remington introduced the Model 700 in 1962, and it became the foundation for the U.S. Marine Corps M40 sniper rifle, the U.S. Army's M24, and the most produced bolt-action hunting rifle in American history. Over 5 million have been built. But the guns that matter to collectors are the ones from the first 8 years of production, 1962 to 1970. Those early guns have the original Wayne Leake design trigger, a polished blue finish from before Remington's cost-cutting era, American walnut stocks with hand-cut basket weave checkering, and a smoother bolt operation than anything that came after. Same legendary 3 rings of steel action, but executed at a level most hunters today have never seen in person. The numbers. In 2005, an early Model 700 sold for around $350. Today, a correct 1962 to 1970 ADL or BDL in excellent condition with matching numbers brings $900 to $1,800. Custom shop examples with factory letter authentication are pulling $3,000 to $7,000 at auction. Identifying marks. Serial numbers below approximately $270,000, the distinctive 3 rings bolt face, basket weave checkering on original walnut, and a depth of bluing that post-1970 production simply doesn't match. If you've got one of these in the back of the safe from your dad's hunting days, leave it there. Number 9. Browning BAR, Belgian-made pre-1976. Here's where we shift gears. Semi-auto territory and one of the most underappreciated collector pieces in the market right now. Browning introduced the BAR in 1967. The first 9 years of production were entirely made at the Fabrique Nationale Herstal factory in Belgium. Those are the ones you want. Full European walnut, polished blued finish, hand-fit gas system, and engraving available on grade 2 and higher. In 1976, production moved to Japan. The Japanese BARs are solid rifles. The Belgian ones are collector pieces. Full stop. The grades break down like this. Grade I is your standard checkered walnut. Grade 2 adds engraved game scenes. Grade 3 goes deeper with hand-detailed work. Grade IV and V are presentation pieces with gold inlay and master-grade walnut. Price movement: in 2000, a Belgian grade I sold for around $400. Today, a correct example with matching numbers and original finish brings $1,200 to $2,200. Grade 2 BARs are pulling $2,500 to $4,500. Grade 3 examples go $6,000 to $12,000. Grade IV and V Belgian BARs have crossed $18,000 at auction. The identifying mark is right on the receiver. Look for the Fabrique Nationale Herstel Belgique roll mark. Belgian proof marks confirm production location, and original Belgian walnut has a tighter grain pattern than the Japanese era stocks. Number 8. Sako Finbear L61R pre-1985. If you've never heard of the Sako Finbear, that's exactly the point, and exactly why serious collectors are snapping them up. Sako, based in Riihimäki, Finland, built the L61R as their long-action receiver for the biggest Magnum hunting cartridges on the market. 375 H&H Magnum, 300 Weatherby Magnum, 338 Winchester Magnum, and 7mm Remington Magnum. The action was machined from solid bar stock steel to tighter tolerances than any American production rifle of the era. Barrels were cold hammer forged in Finland. Walnut was hand-selected European stock. Production of the L61R Finbear ran from 1961 to approximately 1985, after which Sako replaced it with the Hunter and TRG action families. Every rifle that exists is the entire collector market. No new supply, ever. The numbers tell the story. In 2000, a Sako Finbear in good condition brought around $500. By 2010, that had climbed to $1,200. Today, a correct pre-1985 example in excellent condition with matching numbers and original walnut brings $2,200 to $4,500. Custom deluxe variants with figured walnut and special order chamberings pull $6,000 to $12,000. Documented African safari examples with provenance command premium prices on top of that. Look for the Sako stamp on the receiver with the Riihimäki, Finland address on the barrel. The L61R has a distinctive integral scope rail machined directly into the receiver. Original Sako walnut runs darker and more reddish than American stocks. Number 7. Mannlicher Schonauer Model 1903-9056 MCA. Let's talk about the rifle that Ernest Hemingway carried. That alone should tell you something. The Mannlicher Schonauer was introduced in 1903 by Steyr Mannlicher in Austria, and for over 60 years it was the go-to rifle for European royalty, Indian Maharajas, and serious American big game hunters who knew the difference between a tool and a work of art. Theodore Roosevelt's son Kermit owned one. What made it special? 3 things. First, the rotary spool magazine. Smooth, quiet feeding that American hunters of the era considered the finest in any production bolt action. Second, the double set trigger. Press the rear trigger to set it, and the front trigger fires with an almost imperceptible pull. Third, the full-length Mannlicher stock running from receiver to muzzle, the most distinctive silhouette in European hunting rifle history. The dedicated 6.5 by 54mm Mannlicher Schonauer cartridge was developed specifically for these rifles. Production at the original Steyr factory ran from 1903 into the 1970s, with the Model 1956 MCA being the last major variant. In 2000, a 1903 carbine sold for around $600. Today, a correct pre-World War II example in excellent condition brings $2,000 to $4,000. Interwar production runs $1,500 to $3,200. Custom grade examples with engraving and documented provenance have crossed $15,000 at auction. Identifying marks: rotary magazine visible through the floor plate, the distinctive full-length Mannlicher stock, Steyr address on the barrel, double set trigger, and matching serial numbers on receiver and bolt body. Number 6. Winchester Model 71, 1936 to 1958. Now here is the sleeper pick on this list. The rifle a lot of people walk past because it doesn't scream for attention, but the collectors who know exactly what it is rarely make that mistake. The Winchester Model 71 was the last lever action Winchester built entirely the old way. Solid steel forgings, hand-fit walnut, and a blued finish that took real time to apply. Produced from 1936 to 1958 at the New Haven factory, only 47,254 rifles were made across the whole run. Then production stopped, and that was it. It was chambered exclusively in .348 Winchester, one of the most powerful lever-action cartridges Winchester ever turned loose on the market. That pairing matters, because the rifle and cartridge are linked in a way collectors love. One gun, one chambering, one closed chapter in Winchester history. The carbine variant is much harder to find than the standard rifle and often carries a strong premium. In the 1970s, you could still find one for around $125. Today, a correct example in high condition brings $1,200 to $2,000. Deluxe versions with factory engraving and high-grade walnut bring $2,500 to $3, $500 plus at auction. Pre-war rifles with matching numbers and original finish live at the top of that range. Look for the New Haven, Connecticut barrel address, the high wall receiver profile, and matching serial numbers on the receiver and bolt. Original factory bluing has a depth where finished examples never quite duplicate. If you see one that still wears honest finish and sharp wood, don't get cute with it. Leave it alone and let the market do the work. Number 5. Ruger No. One Tropical, early production pre-1975. Bill Ruger called this his favorite production rifle. That's not marketing. That's a man who built guns for a living, pointing at one and saying that one. The Ruger No. One was introduced in 1966, modeled on the classic Farquharson falling block action of the Victorian era. The tropical variant was chambered for dangerous game cartridges. 458 Winchester Magnum, 375H and H Magnum, and later the 416 Rigby, single shot. One round, one precise shot, then reload. Early production examples built before 1975 have a level of fit and finish that later economy-grade variants simply don't match. American walnut stocks, polished, blued finish, hand-fit action. The kind of craftsmanship that disappeared as Ruger scaled up production. Price movement. In 2000, an early No. One Tropical sold for around $600. Today, a correct early production example with matching numbers, original walnut, and original bluing in excellent condition brings $1,800 to $3,800. Rare, discontinued chamberings pull $4,000 to $8,000. Documented professional hunter examples with African provenance have crossed $12,000. Look for the barrel roll mark. Ruger and Company Incorporated, Southport, Connecticut. The falling block action is visible when you operate the lever. The breech block drops, serial number on the receiver corresponds to specific production runs. Number 4. Winchester Model 70 African Grade, pre-1964. Only 1,226 rifles. That's the entire production run. Every single one a special order. None stocked on retail shelves. Winchester developed the 458 Winchester Magnum cartridge in 1956, specifically for African dangerous game. They simultaneously introduced the Model 70 African Grade as the rifle built to fire it. Hunters, professional guides, and African game wardens ordered these rifles specifically, by name, for a specific purpose. The specs were purpose-built. Monte Carlo, stock with extra heavy walnut, hooded ramp front sight, African Express rear sight, super-grade polished, blued finish, quick-release sling swivels, and a heavy recoil pad drilled and tapped for scope mounting. Production ran from 1956 to 1963. Price trajectory. In 1990, an African grade sold for around $1,500. By 2010, $4,000. Today, a correct matching numbers pre-64 African grade in excellent condition with original African Express sights brings $4,500 to $12,000. Documented examples used by professional African hunters with verifiable provenance have crossed $18,000 at auction. The identifying marks: the African Express rear sight with the elevated leaf design unique to this variant, the super-grade floor plate roll mark, and the serial number falling within documented African grade production ranges. Original Monte Carlo walnut has a distinctive cheek piece elevation. Number 3. Weatherby Mark V, early German production, 1958 to 1972. Roy Weatherby didn't just build rifles, he built a philosophy. That velocity kills cleanly, and that hunters deserve something stronger than what everyone else was offering. The Weatherby Mark V, produced by J.P. Sauer and Sohn in Eckernförde, Germany between 1958 and 1972, was built to handle the pressure of Weatherby Magnum cartridges like the 300 Weatherby Magnum, 378 Weatherby Magnum, and 460 Weatherby Magnum. The action used 9 locking lugs in 3 rows, one of the strongest bolt action designs ever put into commercial production. German-made Mark Vs are the gold standard. Polished, blued finish, European walnut stocks with the distinctive Weatherby diamond inlay, and hand-fit actions. In 1972, production moved to Japan. The Japanese rifles are good. The German rifles are the collector pieces. In 2000, a German Mark V sold for around $600. Today, a correct German production example in excellent condition with matching numbers and original walnut brings $1,800 to $4,500. Custom shop examples with engraving and figured walnut pull $6,000 to $14,000. Documented Roy Weatherby personal collection examples have crossed $22,000 at auction. The roll mark tells the story. J.P. Sauer and Sohn, Eckernförde, Germany, on the barrel alongside the Weatherby markings. Serial number prefix confirms production year. Number 2. Rigby Mauser, original John Rigby and Company production. John Rigby and Company was founded in Dublin in 1775. That kind of history matters when you're talking about serious collector rifles. In 1911, Rigby developed the .416 Rigby cartridge specifically for African dangerous game, Cape buffalo, elephant, rhino, and brown bear. They built the rifle to fire it on a Mauser 98 action, sourced directly from the Mauser Oberndorf factory in Germany. The Rigby Mauser became the rifle many professional African hunters trusted most. Every rifle was hand-fit, hand-checkered, hand-polished, and built to the standards of London best gun-making. The pre-World War II Mauser production examples are the top tier. Post-war production continued in London, but the pre-war rifles carry the collector premium. In 1990, an original Rigby Mauser sold for around $5,000. By 2010, $18,000. Today, a correct matching numbers pre-World War II example in excellent condition with the original Mauser Oberndorf action brings $45,000 to $90,000. Documented professional hunter examples with verifiable provenance have crossed $150,000 at auction. Identifying marks: John Rigby and Company, roll marked on the barrel. .416 Rigby chambering engraved on barrel and breech. Original ivory bead front sight, 3-leaf express rear sight, and hand-engraved scroll work on the action. Number 1. Holland & Holland Royal Double Rifle. Everything on this list has been building to this. Holland & Holland was founded in London in 1835. By the late Victorian era, it had become one of the most prestigious gun makers in the world. In 1883, Holland & Holland entered the famous Field Magazine rifle trials and won every rifle category they entered. The Royal Double Rifle is the flagship. Side-by-side double barrels regulated to identical points of impact at 100 yards. Hand-fit treble grip action with concealed third bite. Hand-detachable side locks with gold inlaid cocking indicators. Each rifle is built to customer specification. Caliber, barrel length, stock dimensions, engraving pattern, and case furniture. Each one takes between 1,500 and 2,500 hours of handwork to complete. The most famous example was Theodore Roosevelt's personal rifle, chambered in 5.00-4.50, which he called his Big Stick. It sold at auction in 1994 for $500,000 before buyer's premium. Current Royal Double rifles in .375, Holland and Holland Magnum, or .458 bring $58,000 to $90,000 used. Deluxe variants with master engraving bring $150,000 to $300,000, and heavy Nitro Express chamberings bring far more. If a family safe contains any documented Holland & Holland rifle or any English-made double rifle with provenance, it should not be refinished, polished, or altered. Every one of them points back to the same truth. Craftsmanship matters, originality matters, and scarcity matters. If one of these is sitting in the family safe, it is worth looking twice before ever letting it go. If this list helped you understand what you're actually sitting on, hit subscribe and follow Modern Gun Reality.